How to use the default settings in Casmax. This video describes a strongly recommended way to complete Casmax data entry quickly and effectively. People that use this method save a significant amount of time and produce better reports. This allows you to enter the majority of data only 4 times to complete the Casmax system with all the data required except the range statements. Any minor adjustments can be made within specific areas later. Once you have entered the default data, you simply have to start at the beginning of the categories, units, elements, and tick the appropriate range statements, and then hit Next. Continuing this will allow you to progress. Category, unit, and element. Casmax calls for you to enter details of your skill and experience against a series of elements. To make these elements easier to find, we have grouped them first by category, then by units. To navigate to an element, first select the category. This will populate the unit list. Select your unit, and this will populate the element list. When you select the element, you will see a screen where you can enter data to show your current skill levels for that element. Milestone units. These are located on the left-hand navigation panel. Here you will find Operations Environment. Operations Environment is a summary of where you have worked internationally and what types of products you've worked on. For example, development, exploration, or single-string ventures. Other milestone units, including drilling, completions, and business management. You can use these links to jump to the start of a section. This is also where you can set up your milestone unit's default settings. To speed up the data entry process, we have introduced default settings which can be used to pre-populate the data entry screen. It is easy to overwrite these pre-populated values when appropriate. They can also be changed later if you're not happy with them. The link to open up the default settings screen can be found under the Milestone Units label on the navigation pane at the left-hand side of your screen. Click on this link to open up the Milestone Units dialog box. Select one of the milestone units and double-click on it to edit it. Alternatively, you can select the pencil icon from the bottom left of the dialog box, and this will also open up the Edit dialog box. When you edit a milestone unit dialog box, you will see a list of the same experience labels that you find on the Element Data Entry screen. The labels reflect the various parts of the well engineering processes in which you may have picked up your experience. We would like you to enter an appropriate value against each one. This is a number between 0 and 3 that represents the number of campaigns you've been involved with. Designed, planned, office supervision, well site or rig site supervision, contracts, statutory, budget. The campaigns are really a summary of your career. If you had to describe your career in less than a minute, then these would be the highlights you would mention. It is worth thinking about the major milestones in your career when entering your campaigns and listing them on a piece of paper or referring to your CV if necessary. Consider the fundamental issues of the projects in which you have experience. It is useful to think of the sedimentary basins, temperatures, pressures that you have worked in, as these drive design and operational issues. Here are a couple of examples of different approaches to campaigns. 1. Single field, similar pressures and temperatures. Exploration, appraisal, initial low-angle development wells, high-angle or horizontal wells, workovers, coiled tubing drilling, through tubing rotary drilling, extended reach, subsea tieback, comprises 9 campaigns on the same field. 2. Multiple fields, different pressures and temperatures in sedimentary basins. Exploration deep water West Shetland. Appraisal Southern North Sea gas. Development HPHT Central North Sea. Exploration West Africa. Development deep water South China. Appraisal Western Australia, giving 7 campaigns. The objective of measuring the number of campaigns is to ascertain the degree of spread of experience and detail that an individual has. It is appropriate in some circumstances for a person to have highly specific but restricted experience, whilst others may have more broad experience. Are you a person that has worked on the same field, running and pulling the same completion for many years? Or are you a person that has a broad range of experience across drilling and completions in different areas of the world? Each is perfectly valid in relevant situations, but it's useful for Casmax to identify where in the spectrum of potential profiles each person sits. The text boxes accept a value between 0 and 3. To determine what the correct value for you should be, think about the experience you have gained in your whole career and how many campaigns you've been involved in. If you have no campaigns, then use 0. If you've worked on 1 to 5 campaigns, use 1. 6 to 10 campaigns, use 2. And over 10 campaigns, use 3. You can find a list of these numbers by clicking on the question icon beside the Experience heading. To speed up the data entry process, we've introduced default settings which can be used to pre-populate the data entry screen. It is easy to overwrite these pre-populated values when appropriate. They can also be changed later if you're not happy with them. You can also enter a default confidence value. Choose the label which best describes how confident you would feel if asked to deal with an issue under the milestone units right at this moment. The dialog box also allows you to enter a default year last used for the entire subject area. When you press the Submit button, you will be asked if you want to overwrite the data for any elements you've already completed. In either case, new elements you now fill in will use these default values. When you return to the data entry screen, you'll see that the Experience, Confidence and Year Last Used sections have all been completed for each of the elements in drilling. Complete the other milestone unit default values in the same fashion. You will find the Business Management milestone unit has slightly different labels. Using the default settings allows you to speedily complete your Experience, Confidence and Year Last Used sections. If necessary, you can alter any of the default values you entered in the element. Once you have made any adjustments to the default values, it only remains to read the range statements and tick them when they apply. Pressing the Next button will move you to the next record, and it will also save the data you just entered. Using the default settings allows you to speed up the data entry. You can adjust the default values for any of the elements.